Hey, Algebra 2, Stirrup here. Hey, so we wanted to go over a few forms with you. So A is standard form. B is going to be factored form. And the last one is called vertex form. And they might have a little bit adjusted of names, but we'll see later. So the first one, what characteristics does this have in vertex form? So the vertex is at our h comma k value. Note that that is an opposite sign there. Line of symmetry is x equals h. The x-intercepts, I would plug 0 in for f at x and solve the rest. You might have to factor it. My y-intercept, I would plug 0 in to my x value and see what we get from there. It opens up if my a value is greater than 0, so positive. Opens down if my a value is less than 0, so negative. And then we have a vertical stretch if a is greater than the absolute value of 1, because I could have it negative and it still has a stretch. My vertical shrink would be between 0, or 0 is less than a, which is less than 1. So this would also take place if I had this in there as well. So if I have a fraction or a decimal that's between 0 and 1 or negative 1 and 0, depending upon if it opens up or down, it gives me a stretch or a shrink. Characteristics in standard form. So my line of symmetry is x equals negative b over 2a. My vertex can be found at using my axis of symmetry and plug in for x to get y. My y-intercept is going to be at 0 ax squared plus, I take that back. My x-intercept's that. So my y-intercept is going to be at f at x, a times 0 squared plus b times 0 plus c. That's how I get my y-intercept. My x-intercepts, I would have 0 plugged in for f at x or y, and I might have to factor it. It opens up if a is greater than 0. It opens down if a is less than 0, so positive versus negative. I have a vertical stretch, same exact reason. If my a value is greater than the absolute value of 1. It's a shrink if my a value is between 0 and 1 or negative 1 and 0. So a fraction or decimal between negative 1 and positive 1 would make it shrink. When it's factored, the x-intercepts, they will be opposite values, so p comma 0 and q comma 0. If it was x plus p, I'd have negative p. If it was x plus q, I'd have negative q in there. The line of symmetry is halfway between my p and my q. My vertex is also found at that halfway point, and plug in for x to get y. My y-intercept would be found by plugging in zeros to my x values. And it would open up if my a value is greater than 1, or actually greater than 0, so positive. It would open down if it was less than 0, so negative. I have a vertical stretch if a is greater than the absolute value of 1. Okay. I have a vertical shrink if my a value is somewhere between 0 and 1, or if I had it opening down negative 1 and 0. That should be an a value. Sorry about that. So state the axis of symmetry, state the vertex, and what pattern graph would you use? So I'm going to use negative b over 2a on this one. So I'm going to get negative 8 over 2 times 1. So that's going to be 8 over 2. So my axis of symmetry is 4. My vertex is going to be at 4 comma something. So that's going to be 16 minus 32 plus 3. So negative 13 is my vertex. And my pattern graph would be, being there's a 1 right there, my pattern graph is 1, 3, 5 to graph it. My second problem, I'm going to use negative b over 2a. So that's negative 15 over 6, so that's going to be positive So what are we going to get there? So that's going to give me, that's 15 over 6. So 3 goes into both, so I get 5 over 3. That's my axis of symmetry. So then I'm going to plug 5 over 3 into my problem. I'm going to do that in a calculator. So negative 3 times 5/3 is just 0.6 plus 15 times 0.6 plus 10. So I think I made a mistake there. So negative 3 times, clear, 5 over 3. So if I plug 5/3 in, I'm going to get negative 3 times 5/9 plus 15 times 5/3 plus 10. So that's going to give me negative 15 over 9, which is reduces to negative 5 over 3. That's going to go in there 5 times, so plus 25 plus 10. Let's see, so that's going to be what? 35 minus 5/3 is 33 1/3. And then my pattern graph is going to be negative 3 times 135. So it'll be negative 3, negative 9, negative 15. There's a negative right there. Okay. After that, let's see, I know my roots, so negative 10, 0, and negative 16, 0. Halfway between those points for my axis of symmetry is x equals negative 13. If I take negative 13 and plug it back in, I can get my vertex. So negative 13 plugged down is going to give me negative 3. And negative 13 plugged in here is going to be 3. So negative 2 times negative 3 is 6. 6 times 3 is 18. And then my pattern graph is going to be negative 2 times 135. So I get negative 2, negative 6, negative 10 is my pattern graph. Last one, I get roots at negative 8, 0 and at 12, 0. So the distance from negative 8 to 12 is 20. Divide that by 2 is 10. So my vertex, or my axis of symmetry is going to be x equals 2. That's halfway between negative 8 and 12. And then my vertex is going to be negative 2 is 2. So I'll plug that in. That's 10 minus 10. So that's 10 times 10. That's negative 100 times half is negative 50. And then my pattern graph on this one is going to be 1/2 times 135. So 1/2, 3/2, 5/2. Okay. And again, any questions you have on this, we will go over in class. So let's graph this one. So it looks like I'm going to get negative 1, 0, and I'm going to get 3, 0. So negative 1, 0 is here, 3 zeros here. What appears to be halfway between them will come in. So it looks like right here is where our axis of symmetry is going to be. So our axis of symmetry is right down here. So our axis of symmetry is x equals 1. So I'm going to plug 1 back in to get my vertex. So 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. So negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. So I get 1 comma 4, which is here. And if I pattern graph, my pattern graph is 1, 3, 5, but with negatives. So right 1, down 1, left 1, down 1, right 1, down 3, left 1, down 3. So those all work. So we have just graphed it. Does it make sense why it opens down? I hope. Next one, this is in vertex form. So I'm going to get negative 3, negative 5. My axis of symmetry is going to be x equals negative 3. So let's go ahead and plot that on our xy axis. So negative 3 is coming straight down there. And I have a vertex at negative 3, negative 5. So I'm down here. My pattern graph is going to be 2 times 1, 3, 5. So that's going to be 2, 6, 10. So I'm going to go right 1 up 2, left 1 up 2, right 1 up 6, left one up 6, and there is my parabola. This one I'm going to use negative b over 2a to get my axis of symmetry. So I'm going to get negative 6 over 2 times half. Negative 6 over half of 2 is 1. So my axis of symmetry is x equals negative 6. So let's go ahead and plot that. Okay. And with our pen, we can do the rest of this. I get negative 6 comma something. So that's going to give me negative, it'll give me positive 36, and half of that's going to give me 18. 18 minus 36 plus 9. 18 minus 36 is negative 18. Negative 18 plus 9 is 9. So I get, or negative 9. So negative 6, negative 9, which is down here. And my pattern graph is going to be 1/2 times 1/3/5. So that'll be 1/2, 3/2, 5/2. So this is going to be a little bit fatter. So from here I'm going to go right one up half, left one up half, right one up 1.5, left one up 1.5, and then right one up 3.5. So 1 or 5/2. So it's 2.5, 1, 2.5, and there. So there's our parabola. That's all we have. Make sure you bring your questions that you might have to class. Other than that, everybody, have a wonderful day. Talk to you real soon. Take care of one another.